Hey all, welcome back to my channel. If you haven't been here before, my name is Jules. I am, for the last week in my life, an autistic and non-binary therapist. Of course, I will still be autistic and non-binary, but I'll be calling myself a human being because I've always been that and I'll continue to be. Anyways, that's not why we're here. I started ADHD medication today and I'm really excited about it and I'm hoping it might help me. If you didn't know, I just finally got late diagnosed with ADHD this year by my psychiatrist. It did not show up in neuropsychs because of how autism and ADHD and OCD intersect. And we have to remember that ADHDers have hyperfocus too. ADHD is kind of like a misnomer because it doesn't mean that you can't focus. It means that your attention is directed differently than somebody else. It is not a deficit. It's only considered a deficit because of the world that we live in that doesn't accommodate our ADHD brains and our needs with a disability that we have. I'm still me. I'm still an ADHDer, but I got on generic Vyvanse today on a low dose, which is very exciting because I'm wrapping up with clients and so there's a lot to focus on and I want to give them my all and do my notes. And like, even though I was doing those things all these years, it's been really hard for me and it's taken a lot more out of me. Like I told my psychiatrist yesterday, I feel like I have to try 3 times harder to focus and do things that other people just kind of like naturally do. Not that life is easy for anybody and I'm not trying to claim that, but living with ADHD, especially realizing that you did your whole life and you only got diagnosed in your early 30s, it's hard. And there's actually a lot of research, especially for ADHD and assigned female at birth people, that they tend to often get diagnosed as late as in their 40s and 50s. But I have been on my meds for an hour. I didn't have it in me to show you this morning because in the mornings when I'm autistically doing my routine, I'm always nervous that I'm going to run out of time. I have time agnosia from my ADHD and I don't have a concept of time, but I have a routine that I follow to do everything on time. And I was thrilled today because I had extra time and I was able to actually come and sit down and talk. And, you know, even though I might still be tangential in my communication because I'm still autistic and there's no medication for that, not that I would take it because I'm okay with being autistic, my brain, believe it or not, feels quiet. As an ADHDer, I live with internal and external hyperactivity. When I get really overwhelmed, it's hard to sit still, relax, rest, anything. And there's like a buzzing in my body that is calming. And I, instead of having a bunch of tree branches and having to pick one to pull down, if I can even find it, as I use a metaphor of what ADHD is like in the brain for me and my clients, I feel like there's just one train of thought, like I should do this thing. Okay, I'm gonna go do this thing. So I want to continue checking in with you throughout the day. I have 3 clients this morning, so I think I'm gonna check in on my break and tell you like how I feel like sessions went versus how they were going when I wasn't on medication. I don't think any medication is perfect and is without side effects. I don't know if this is gonna be for me, but this is already a completely different experience than when I was on ADHD medication 9 years ago. And I also tried non-stimulants earlier this year. I tried guanfacine and Strattera and they did not work for me. They did nothing at all. They didn't help my focus, hyperactivity, executive function, impulsivity, none of my ADHD traits. But right now, like I feel ready for the day. I'm prepared. I have a sense of time. I'm like, it's 8:13. Okay, so I need to grab my water in a few minutes. And like, I don't feel rushed like I always feel because I don't perceive time the same way that others do. Clock time's a bunch of BS anyway. All right, so I will catch you later. Bye. And we're back. So I took my medication around 7:10 today, like with breakfast. It's now 11:30 my time. I'm on my break. I have one more client and then I'm done for the day. Of course, today feels much heavier emotionally because I'm terminating with people and I'm proud of myself because after one of my sessions I cried and I take breaks in between clients now because I have better boundaries and I just let myself cry and move on. And at my second to last job, I didn't cry at all. I felt like a blank slate. I knew I was deeply in burnout and the fact that I had my feelings felt really good. But it almost feels like my ADHD medication gave me more access to my feelings because how my ADHD and OCD intersect in one way is like a song will get stuck in my head, but sometimes it's not a song I like and it's like unwanted and that can be really annoying. And even though of course this is not an OCD medication, it's interesting because for a while I thought that was just OCD and that I didn't have ADHD, of course. And yeah, there's like a song playing in my head, but it's just been Olivia Rodrigo's music, which I love her and she's been my new hyperfixation. And so it's actually been soothing and like bringing up more emotion for me. And so it's there for a reason, but it's not like my mind is bouncing with so many ideas and my body needs to move around more than necessary. And I'm chronically ill. So to feel like it can just sit and be is actually what my body needs and has been really helpful to me. So to go over my sessions, of course, I'm not going to share about clients' confidential details. It's about me and my ADHD meds. I felt like I was more focused. I wouldn't say, oh my God, my life's changed. I was so on the ball and with it. Some of it is things I already do that help with my focus. Like I wear noise canceling headphones the whole time I meet with clients. That's something I've done since my second to last job, and it's been part of my autistic unmasking, but it's also for my ADHD. I get very distracted by outside input, noises, etc., and can't focus. And I want my attention to be on my client, but it's hard because I'm an ADHDer. And I am just so proud of how I was able to hold space for everyone, but I also recognize I was doing this without medication for a long time and it was harder. I still feel tired because I had 3 sessions today, and that, for me, that's a lot, and especially their termination. So everyone's sad. We're all sad together, you know, ending relationships, even professional ones. It's hard. And yeah, I wouldn't say that I have this like intrinsic motivation, like, oh, I want to go do a bunch of stuff. It's just a completely different experience than the last time I was on ADHD medication. So I was on ADHD medication in 2014 for college, and I was on Adderall. I tried Ritalin for a little bit, but it had bad side effects. And Adderall made me all over the place. And when it wore off, I was really irritable. But I think Adderall has like a shorter half-life from what I know, even in the extended release form. And since this is generic Vyvanse, what my psychiatrist explained to me is it's supposed to last all through the day. So I think it's supposed to have like a more gentle effect. So when it wears off, I'm not irritable and have trouble sleeping, but we will check in at that point tonight to see how I'm doing then. Other than that, like I said, I have one more client today after lunch, and I have therapy today, thank goodness. And after that, maybe I will check in. I think maybe like after therapy and before bed will be like my final check-in, so you can see the longevity of the medication for me personally in my day. And I just want to say, this isn't a take psych meds thing, or if you have ADHD, do that. Like, you're your own person. I am no longer going to be a mental health provider, but of course I'm not a medical provider. This is just documenting my personal lived experience with 9 years later going on ADHD medication again to see if my body reacts differently, and that it is, which I did not expect. I thought I was just going to get like really bad anxiety and panic, and no, actually there's a piece of this that's calming. Like I do feel my heart rate and stuff, but I'm also adjusting to a medication. It's my first day. So I'll catch you all after therapy or on 4 today. See you then. Hello again. It's a little past 4 p.m. I'm not having a concept of time, so accommodating my time nausea is wearing off. But I'm not crashing like I did when I took Adderall and Ritalin, where I got like really irritable. In fact, I just feel tired. I feel really tired. I feel the tree branches in my brain slowly starting to come back, but I still feel like there's an effect of the medication because I have that like warm, fuzzy feeling on my body, and my brain feels quieter, and my speech is still slowed down, which I'm not used to because, like I said, my ADHD got to be the most debilitating it's ever been in my whole life, like this year, which is why I finally got diagnosed. So it's very affirming in some ways. It answers a lot of questions about struggles I've had in my life, and I don't think that ADHD medication is like a miracle and you're gonna go do stuff. Like, you need a mix of supports and accommodations around your ADHD, and sometimes medication if that's a journey you choose to go on to benefit from, you know, ADHD management. I know we don't use that in the ND affirming world, ADHD support, whatever language you want to use. I'm very curious to see how I feel when it's time to go to bed and when I go to sleep, and I think that's going to be my final check-in. But I wouldn't say, oh, I was so focused. I definitely lost my focus at certain points in the day, but it felt like, oh wait, like neurotypical people lose focus too. Like being ADHD is like, oh my gosh, my attention's on this, now it's this, now it's this. And it's hard to stay on one thing unless it's of interest or the right level of stimulation or you're feeling okay, etc. So it definitely was not a miracle in a bottle where I was like, I'm so focused, I'm so on, because there's other reasons I struggle with focus. But definitely, like I said, it reduced my intrusive thoughts, which I did not expect, which has been so cool, and made today a little easier. And today was a hard day, and it was going to be whether I had meds or not, but I'm so grateful that I did. I'll see you later. Hey y'all, in ADHD fashion, I did not finish filming last night because the medication wore off probably between like 6 and 7, and it wasn't like an immediate crash. It was like the hyperactivity started to slowly come back in, and then it was just there. And that juxtaposition of how I felt before versus then was so disappointing. And then obviously I had some overstimulation, but I don't think that's due to the med. I have that every night without medication. So it was like, oh yeah, this is my baseline. And that's how I'm feeling now, because I don't know if this is a side effect of the medication or it's just because I'm leaving work and I have a lot of stress and trauma and grief around that. I have been up since 3:30 this morning. I usually have trouble with falling asleep, not staying asleep, although that's been in my history. So I went to sleep and then I woke up at 12:30, but I forced myself to go back to sleep. But at 3:30 in the morning, I had to go to the bathroom. So I went to the bathroom and then I could not go back to sleep. I think I fell asleep from 5:45 to 6:15, and then I just got up and I started my day. And I took my Vyvanse, generic Vyvanse again. I was just reading about it on a subreddit to see what people's experiences are. And I guess a lot of people self-pay for the name brand because they find it to be more potent and work better for them than the generic brand, which is interesting. So I wonder if you just need to have a higher dose of this type of brand for it to work. I don't know. I don't feel very focused today, but I don't think ADHD meds are going to cure the fact that I didn't get enough sleep, that I have a huge headache because I had to cut out coffee. So now I'm going, on my second day without coffee when I really feel like I could use it, but I don't want to exacerbate any side effects. So I just got to go to work like this, and it's tough. And there's pros and cons of taking psychiatric medications, even though yesterday felt life altering in a way. Like, that's because it was my first day on the medication. I don't plan to take the medication every day. I'm going to take it on Friday to see if it helps with my driving. As you saw, I was just looking out the window. There's nothing there, but I still got distracted. I really don't feel that much different today. The only thing that happened is I was in the bathroom and all of a sudden it felt like my vision changed, like in a way where I could see clearer. And that happened yesterday. And that was like a moment where I was like, I think the medicine's kicking in. What is this? Is this like me focusing better? And that's why everything feels clearer. Like, I wear contact lenses, I can see, and I didn't see anyone else talking about that. But I'm not worried. I don't have any major side effects. Yeah, my chest got a little tight yesterday, but not, in a big way. I checked my heart rate. My heart rate was fine. I had tachycardia from Graves' disease, so I'm good now. But I'm going to wrap up this vlog for now and just put it out there for y'all to talk about lived experience with medication. And maybe I'll make more of these because I'm sure this isn't the end of my medication journey now that I'm not working and can experiment on myself, but it's hard. It's a privilege to access medication, to do trial and error with medication, etc. So if you're on this journey as a fellow ADHDer, it's tough out there, and I wish you all the best. Hey all, in an unexpected twist of events, this is actually the final clip going into the vlog for today. Today is Thursday. I started filming this vlog on Tuesday because that's when I started the ADHD meds, and I did not take them today because today is my day off. I just have therapy and that's it. But this also intersects with my ADHD. One reason my ADHD can feel terrible, and I've heard this from other clients, is about their menstrual cycles. I don't have a natural menstrual cycle. I have PMDD. And so I take a birth control pill continuously and have for at least 5+ years now. It used to work really well. Sometimes I'd still have to get my period like once a year. And it's at the point that it's almost like every month that I have to get it. And I'm so tired of it. But the reason that I'm coming here to talk about it, even though it might not seem relevant to trialing the ADHD meds, is autistically, I've collected enough data. The reason that I woke up at 3:30 in the morning was from hormone imbalance, because my period was going to come and break through the pill because the birth control pill has not been working for my PMDD. My endocrinologist tried to blame it on my Graves' disease, but my thyroid's pretty much normal now, so she can't do that anymore. And I've had PMDD this whole time, but working in the mental health field made this happen. Like at my first post-grad job, about a year in, this started happening and it hasn't stopped since. And it's been so debilitating. And you want to talk intersection, the way PMDD intersects with BPD, oh, it's a nightmare. So some triggers for my PMDD, of course, are stress. I cannot handle as much stress as other people, especially with chronic illness, and I consider PMDD part of that, although it's also a neurotype and disability. I know that that's why I woke up at 3:30. So the stressors were, of course, that I was finishing my job this week, and that was really stressful to like just hold space for everyone's grief and pain, and I can be a hyper empathic person due to my trauma and being autistic, and I can't always like separate myself, and so it weighed on me a lot. I had a lot of trouble with my sleep, but last night I slept through the whole night, and yesterday I took my ADHD medication, so I do not think that my ADHD medication caused any of this. Thank goodness, because I'm going to try it again tomorrow. This whole situation is just so stressful. I am in so much pain. I took my birth control pill and just fully have my period, have cramps, feel like I'm gonna cry every 5 seconds, down in the dumps, and it's awful. It really is. PMDD is a debilitating condition to live with. I think out of all my neurotypes, it might just be my least favorite one. Now I have more answers. Dave's also traveling for work, my partner, and every time he does, I go into a PMDD flare. He's in the process of hopefully getting a new job, so we're hoping that that major stressor that's been in our relationship will go away. And obviously that's really hard on him because I don't want him to worry about me while he's away, but you can only imagine the intersection of PMDD and BPD. And when you add ADHD to the mix, my executive functions all over the place, my brain goes nonstop, I can be impulsive, and I just can't focus for crap. So this vlog was a lot longer than I assumed that it would be, but I'm gonna go get a coffee with my dad shortly, and I'm going to try to edit this and put it up for you all. But I just want to clarify because I was in a different place in the clip yesterday, not literally, like it's in mentally, like in mindset about, oh no, is it my ADHD meds? But I've deduced enough that no, it's the major stressors in my life. My hormones were imbalanced, and that's why I had trouble with sleep and any side effects. And so I'm hopeful that the meds will continue to help me because my PMDD certainly isn't being treated the way that it needs to. All right, this is where I'll end. Take care. Bye, y'all.